my philosophy has always been that if I plant a seed, whether it's one day or one season or 1 year, I have to see it through, and I can't just get up and leave. And that's my motivation, every day to see a sea of smiles that tells you, and you interpret this as that, thank you for my future. I mean,
Yeah.
can you get any more rewarding and the most incredible? And you can, yes.
Good morning, my friends. We have Jimmy Pham in the house today. Not in his house, but in our Empower You podcast where we want to empower the true potential of you from the inside out. And I would love to have Jimmy to say the sentence to kick off today.
Greetings, first of all, Jen. Thank you so much for having me here. I find that when there's an opportunity and a platform to tell my stories, to not for education purpose, it's more for inspiring and being inspired, and collectively raising awareness so we can for common purpose of creating a just and all-inclusive community.
Thank you, Jimmy. I think people in Vietnam, especially when they work in the social enterprise side, they appreciate that you have been dedicated and you have been consistent to make the very first social enterprise. And I just told Jimmy just now that I was a student. I went there and I felt the so special concept out of Hanoi. And when I went abroad, I learned about social enterprise, and I didn't really know that concept. And I could, oh, there was one like that in Vietnam when I went back. So I think it was a real journey. From theory, I heard that, and I think for years in the practical side. And uh, I love to see that today we have a topic which is empowering futures, one life at a time. And I think if you know Jimmy, you know that he has been inspiring thousands of different people, especially with not, let's say, full resources when they were born. So how did you discover that tagline of your life, empowering futures, one life at a time?
I think first of all, my journey back to Vietnam, because so to understand my background, I'm
Mm.
Australian, Vietnamese, Korean. So
Oh, okay. So you speak three
I,
languages.
I look like a Kiwi. So I'm very confused. Uh, and growing up in Australia, called the lucky country, where you feel education, everything that you're always there and have
Mm,
access to, is that you take for granted. And when you go back to Australia, to Vietnam in 1996, put in perspective for to everyone who's listening,
mm,
to our international friends, is that Vietnam was going through a very difficult time with been constant occupation and all that kind of stuff, and we still consider 1996 as a third world country. So people were
yeah.
pretty much living from hand to mouth and all that. So that's my discovery of Street Kids. So after spending much time with them, I decided I want to be that change that I want to see in the world, right? I have no experience. I can't speak the language. I can't all that kind of stuff. But I don't know what came to me particularly, but I thought I wanted to come back and be that change. But if I can just change one life and that life breathe a bit easier because I have lived, then to me that's success, right? Because that's the whole thing about paying it forward or whatever how you want to interpret that is the ability to be of service, right? And that was my going into this incredible 27-year love affair with Vietnam since 1996, that I was able to be able to so hold on to that value, I guess, that principle. It's like that can help one person at a time, and
Mm,
started this whole know one, teach one, which is what KOTO stand for, the organization I started, is to say, if one person life is better,
Mm,
and to pay it forward, and that's how the whole thing starts. So empowering is, and the word empowering is through my journey. Charity does not work. And please don't use the word charity to me, because it's all about self-serving to me. And I know a lot of people don't agree with that, because we're still on that mindset of helping other people by giving out. I've learned that the hard way. That's not the way that I would do it. I would
mm,
empower people, right? And I find that that helped, because I have 1,700 students who have gone on
yeah,
to bigger and better things through this empowerment process.
uh,
They don't feel at any time felt sorry for. They don't feel that they are a charity case, and they lived as individual and active citizens. So
mm,
empowering lives one at a time is why this is the topic of today's conversation.
wow. It was such a journey. When we hear that, we feel empowered, but when we walk through that, I believe that it's a lot of up and down.
Exactly.
And yeah, it is like always a great story with all the challenges. How did you empower yourself? Do we need to empower ourselves before we say we empower other people? At
Yeah.
that time, did you empower yourself already?
I think empowerment comes from the journey itself. It says, that
Mm,
it's never about the destination; it's always about the journey of getting there. For me, it's a learning. I went through a really, if I look back at the last 27, 28 years, I can say that without a doubt, hands on my heart, that is probably the most challenging, the most rewarding, the most painstaking process I've ever gone through,
yeah.
to grow up to become the person that I am today, right?
Mm,
And for me, it's a process of becoming, empowered. And my motivation has always been, to this day,
mm,
uh, and I said this to myself on saying, it's always been, I have a very clear purpose. I've
yeah.
never, I've always stayed focused, even though that I've been beaten down so many times, even through COVID, where we lost our school, we lost our
Yeah.
restaurant, lost everything, and we still kept going because the purpose
Mm,
was there. And I know where I'm going. I know what
yeah.
I do, right? And sometimes, environment and other things that gets in your way, but because you're so focused. And my philosophy has always been that if I plant a seed,
Yeah.
whether it's one day or one season or one year, I have to see it through, and I can't just get up and leave.
Mm,
Uh, and that's my motivation, every day to see a sea of smiles that tells you, and you interpret this as that, thank you for my future. I mean,
yeah.
can you get any more rewarding and the most incredible? And you can see, Jen, right? I still
Yeah.
talk this day about how passionate I am, and this
Yeah.
doing this for nearly 30 years.
Yeah, I can see your smile, the combination, the collective smiles from
Yes.
all the
So that's
students.
that's for me. That's my empowerment.
Yeah. So it's like because sometimes we want to change something big, and you make it to become like actually it can start with something small and consistently, and it's not like we had to wait until we are ready.
Yeah,
We are empowered, and we say, okay, I empower others, but it's a kind of collective journey.
exactly.
And I felt like you was saying that as you live with that journey, because we also use the word empowerment in our community, and I also feel like we resonated, and you say you plant the seed, and some grows and some will grow later and help each other to grow. So how was Jimmy before and after, over the last 13 years? Could you see that Jimmy identity shifted as a person?
Absolutely. Every day is, don't ever listen to anyone that say to you that please don't change, stay the way you are. Because
Don't change your personalities because
that
you
is
cannot
such
change it.
that is such BS, right?
Yeah.
Seriously, because if you don't change every day, you
Mm,
grow. every day you learn, every day you become a different person. And and to say that please don't change, this doesn't work. So Jimmy, in the Jimmy in Australia and the Jimmy is a process, right? To the Jimmy
Mm.
today, it is, I'm so grateful for my Vietnamese heritage. I'm so incredibly grateful for my education in Australia, and I'm so grateful for the genes of my father and my mom, who's kindness and all that kind of stuff. So all this combined, and I realized I don't have to be Australians, I don't have to be Vietnamese, I don't have to be Korean. I can just need to be me and to be
Oh, wow. Yes, a
uh,
human being. Yeah.
exactly. I just need to be a decent, compassionate individual who lives,
Mm.
happen to live internationally. I don't
Yeah.
have to fall into this, cultural stereotype of who I should be. And this is something that, the teaching pass on to our students. If you imagine, Jen, a girl that are told all her life
Mm.
that's because she's a hill tribe and she can't speak Vietnamese properly, and
Mm.
her destiny is always to get married at 13, 14 years old, and possibly now saying that no, there's other there's other choices, there's other opportunity for you, and to you don't have to go down that path, you
Yeah.
know, and you don't have to be the stereotype of what a hill tribe minority girl should look like and how she should
Mm.
act and all that kind of stuff, and actually give you a platform to dream and then make it happen. So this is so we pass that values on to our students, because you lead by example.
Wow. So it was like a journey that you learned the compassion and the kindness, and also the without boundaries from your parents, your environment, and you empower that journey by empowering other people, and that's involved. And I really like what somebody say, like our personality also reflects our personal life. And you said that you have changed, like it's involving. What was that kind of list of milestone of Jimmy, and what was that factors that make that happen? So you make the changes.
I think the first thing is that, yeah, you're right, because my father passed away when I was still young, and they separated. My
Mm.
mom was a mother and a father and all that kind of stuff, and she was a product of a street kid herself, because she comes from a war-torn countries, and moved six children over to another continent. That's an
Oh,
incredible woman.
it's just a powerful.
So
Yeah.
that's strength, right? But she can't give me the things that I that like education, so or etiquettes and how to behave and how to talk intellectually and all that kind. That's not her, and I'm grateful for that background, because it's that thing that makes up who I am today. Because it's only through these experiences and through the things that you don't have that you appreciate the things that you do have. And this
Yeah.
for me is incredibly important. And the milestone for me has been every day. The milestones, for example, is when I went for a walk in Ho Chi Minh in
Yeah.
1996 that changed my life. I never thought I'd end up in Vietnam. I never
Mm.
thought I end up loving Vietnam, and and all that kind of stuff, because people want to go to Australia as a lucky country and all that kind of stuff. I don't think that way. I think I'm very lucky to be here. I have a
Mm.
purpose. Every day I go to work. I don't feel like working, because I feel that is a privilege to serve. The milestone is when people put me down, they criticize me. I was under investigations because I work with children. I was under,
Yeah.
when I started this, that cooking 25
Mm.
years ago, people was laughing at me because they say that, everyone can cook. You don't need to go to school. And I put girls
Mm.
behind bars and learning service. They said that, I'm trafficking girls to China,
Yeah.
all sorts of things that when you become that square peg in a round hole.
Yeah.
uh,
When you're the leading model in anything,
exactly,
especially related to the sensitive, like people, like
exactly,
children. Yeah.
exactly. But that's how you make changes, Jen. This is how.
Yes, how you leading that movement, and
That's right.
yeah.
And so all that is a milestone. All that was a learning. All that was a chance for me to say thank you I needed that to become a better person, to become a stronger person, to become a knowledgeable person that so I can keep fighting for those that cannot fight for themselves, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah, I think Jimmy now can say that. And let's imagine there's a very young Jimmy sitting and listening to us right now. And he or she is really in the moment where he or she wants to give up on it. What do you want to say to that, Jimmy?
I wanted to say that be brave. If 10 people tell you not to do things and one person tell you to do things, you listen to that one person.
You don't even have that one person.
Yeah, that one person could be you. It,
Oh,
listen,
wow. And I remember today also a friend saying like there's thousand of different like elements inside us that actually create our body. So imagine these things that support us to still be alive. So yeah, they are loving us. Yeah, wow. That's just a
and
powerful one.
don't ever give up on seeking to become a better version of you. So
Yeah.
that's where through learning, through experiencing, through living, through experimenting, all that kind of stuff. Everything is there for a purpose, right?
Mm,
I am a man of faith, so I'm always believe there's a higher power. I always
yeah.
believe that there's a reason why we do things and why we're here and what we do, and we all have a job to do. And if we have our job, once our job is complete, that's when we leave this world. But
Mm,
always leave it better than when you found it, right? And don't make excuses because it doesn't help. It
mm,
doesn't help the situation. And if you don't believe in yourself, nobody else will. And if you keep on telling yourself that you're amount to nothing, that's what you'll become. So be very careful on how you treat you.
yeah. And we have one more person today, which is Jimmy. So if you are anyone who will be or have been in any situation that you almost want to give up or down by yourself, maybe that is a great sign that you're doing something if you think it's important. Believe that somebody out there still believe in you, and one person, which is you. It's not very like, let's say, simple to say that, right, Jimmy? But I knew it was not that easy at all during that journey. So did you want to give up any time in your life?
Every
You,
day.
I mean, you give up on
Every
limiting
day,
things.
every day, because every day seems to be, you go through a stage where when there's so much difficulties, right? We got to a point where we keep on renting and we keep on every 5 years we build the business model, we get kicked
Mm,
out, and people
yeah,
want rent and all the kind of stuff. The daily challenges of running a business, but we run a social business, right?
yeah,
Normal restaurant only have 30 people. We have a couple hundred people, so all
yeah.
that more challenging. So you keep on saying, at one stage you go through, this is a whole process. You say, why me? Why? I'm doing good things. Why if all this really shitty things are happening to me? Why? And
I'm a good person. Why?
yeah, exactly. It's just like, when
This
someone
is a
started.
manifestation in the bad way.
Yeah, well, this is the thing. When people, when they start, they have a good idea. They want to do something social, and
Mm,
when they start something, they don't understand why there's not many people that come and rush to help them and to fund
mm,
them. And after
mm,
2 years, they close. Is because you got to make it happen yourself. You know,
mm,
so for me, is that I come to realize all this obstacles and challenges, it's all in the mindset. If I say that, why me? And instead of saying why me, I should say why not.
yeah, why not me?
So that's the mindset, that's
Yeah.
the attitude. And that's why if you want to be that shining example for your students,
Mm,
and you tell them to go, to go overcome obstacles and and come out the other end better, right? Then you yourself have to do that.
mm,
Can't say that, you do it, I will sit and watch. Uh, and for us is that, all this process again, this whole journey of development and becoming that better person, better version of yourself, is through all this obstacles and this all this milestone, all these challenges that to get you to where you are today. And that for me is now I don't say why me
Yeah.
anymore. I just
Yeah, I
say
think that was that kind of, you live really in that kind of abundance zone in a way where challenges actually become resources. And do you feel like you are now in the vision that you created 13 years ago? Or did you create that vision, and did you feel like you manifested it in the way even like more than you imagined?
absolutely. So the purpose why I do it and has not changed even to
Yes.
this day. The passion is still there, the compassion is still there, the purpose is still there, and all that. What changed is that how you do it. You just work smarter. You don't work
Mm,
harder. You become more and more when you start to discover that, because of knowledge and experiences and all that, you can actually widen your impact. So we do women empowerment program now with the Australian Embassy through the Her Turn project. We do food rescue now as well, via Harvest. We do, helping a lot on education, vocational education training. So we want to create these ecosystems, and we wouldn't be able to do that, 10 years ago. It would keep the model the same. That like everything else, it goes through an evolution stage of changes, and it's just only get better. And as long as the mission stays the same, which is to help those underserved. But what's changed is that we don't want to help disadvantaged youth anymore. We want that to be an all-inclusive. We imagine an all-inclusive community where no one is left behind.
yeah.
Uh,
I think the passion is like, yeah, it's just accumulated even more. And the purpose and the, or you call the mission, how did you know that is his purpose? I think like these kind of terms that help people to have some kind of thing to find and identify, and sometimes also make people kind of wander around too much on where is my mission, where's my purpose, so I can live my whole life later on like Jimmy, that I can overcome the challenges, right? So what was that journey for you, that you knew that is something that you could live for your whole life and you can change the how, but that is kind of like the journey that you continue work on?
I can only say that there's two factors. Number one factor, and probably the main factor, is how does a mother know when her child is sick, and how does a
Wow, that's
know
a big one.
if your child is changing and there's something wrong, something is not right. It's
Mm.
because you do. When you love something that much, it's that
Mm,
intuitions and all that kind of stuff. And you're so dedicated to learn. And the
yeah,
coach is like that for me, is my child, where I know that I know how to what it needs and what it wants, and through experiences and through listening to the beneficiaries, right? The second part is I just don't know how to articulate that. And how to articulate that is when you bring experts in and people that come in and believe in your mission and share their experiences, and then you learn with them to create
mm,
the mission statement and the vision statement and all that kind of stuff. So it's a collective effort, like you mentioned, Jen, right? But the mission itself, because when you sleep with it and you gave life to it for 25 years, right? You just know what it needs.
yeah, wow. So it's kind of like the instant feeling and the dedication that you put on that, and without even like wanting something back. And that also like may also make some challenges for people who so dedicated on the community and on the social enterprise, because if they kind of so into that, and they also in the kind of, I would say like thinking too much on, not thinking on the aspect of at least like taking care of their life and some surrounding with the financial other things. As I have been doing community, so I know that passion sometimes is just sinking us, so we forget all the other aspect in normal life. So how could you actually has it harmonize where we know that it's a purpose and we're gonna take time to really see how it's gonna come to the place of sustainable,
Yeah.
and how can we have that short term and middle term so we can still like live and we don't die until the point where that one can keep going.
Yeah. I think is again, it's going back to this whole, you learn and as you grow, and it's about part of the growth journey, right? Uh, is having a vision is not enough,
Mm.
but having to identify good people around you, so
So
they
you
can
already identify the who at the beginning, after the
uh,
why. Yeah.
right. And then you need to be able to have all these other acumens and attributes to be
Mm.
able to articulate that vision into reality, right?
Yeah.
And that can only happen when through a lot of mistakes, a lot of learning,
Mm.
a lot of listening. Listening skills is incredible important. You have to have a very strong high EQ, emotional intelligence,
Mm-hmm.
all that attributes that you accumulate along the way, along the journey as well. And the reason why I keep on saying that in repetition to the audience that listen, because I don't want you to feel overwhelmed, right? And you immediately
Mm-hmm.
needs to be expressed about your mission statement and your vision statement and your value statements and all the things like that. It will come to you, right?
Yeah.
Keep it very natural and authentic. It's the word that we mentioned. Keep it very
Mm.
authentic, and that's how you can bring that vision to life. Uh,
Mm.
and all the attributes and all that concept you learn along the way. You just need to be, you don't overthink, don't overstress, don't think. As long as you have good people around you, you know where you're going, and you know to have a plan, and you have a very strong EQ. I think that everything will fall into place.
Yeah. So you give us even like the skill set and tool sets and mindsets to identify that purpose and to know where we are now and aware of that and close the gap so we can work on that journey.
And whatever you
You,
do, whether it's business or social business or a profit or not for profit or whatever that
yeah.
may look like, it's very important that you have two. You have to have thumb and you have to have thumb, right? What do you do,
Yeah,
right?
momentum.
So two
Yeah.
of the two T's is
Yeah.
so super important because if you can have said, oh, but I'm doing really good charity work, but you have no skills and acumens, and how are you going to keep it sustainable, right? And if you have
Mm.
this is the thing, but you treat everyone like dirt, and you don't actually care about your environment and the people and all that kind of stuff, how are you ever going to grow
Mm.
as a
Yeah.
person, as a leader?
Beautiful, and I think like we know that Jimmy has been with a lot of ups and downs and a lot of scars, and the words seem to be like simple, basic, but it's really like a journey of walking every day. And you said that the business as your child. Do you feel like where is your child now? It's like an adult, it's like getting married, or where is this now?
KOTO is I still think it's in its maturity.
Yeah.
Uh, like even when you ask a 50-year-old man, like I'll give you an example. I received my university degree at 48 years old, Jen.
Mm.
I had my master at 50, and I had my
Wow.
PhD at 52,
Yeah,
right?
congratulations. You never
I'm
stop
not saying
learning
that
at any age.
I just want you to go back to Buckhall saying that you study always, you study forever. Is
Yeah.
is a process. So you ask an organization that's 25 years old. Yes, it's
Mm.
mature. It's where it's supposed to be. Uh, but can it learn more, improve more, and do more? Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah,
So
well,
it's
that's the spirit is just like so strong from beginning until the till now when you share, you touch on the word authenticity. So grow, but being even more authentic. So did
that's
you
correct.
feel like you was not yourself before, and then you felt like, oh, I had to be my authentic self?
Mm.
How was that journey of that authenticity leadership?
Dentist leadership because you generally have to love people. And you generally need to love what you do because it will show in when you talk about it, it'll show in your eyes. It'll come
Just
across
my
the smile
yeah.
when you tell the story, when you cry, when you tell about this horrific story a child have to endure. So all this is incredibly powerful when you become authentic. And as the organization, you measure this. The outcome of an authentic organization is that
Mm,
it's consistent and keep growing. And you
yeah.
have, 90% of the enterprise are alumni from
Oh.
the program. And you
Mm,
have all the female leaders in the KOTO organizational chart are actually women, but
yeah.
also alumni.
Mm,
So that our foundation director has been with us for 20 years,
yeah.
right? So all this is this because if you're not an authentic organization where they feel that then they don't actually have to come back and give that beautiful part of their livelihood to this organization, right?
Yeah.
Because they believe in the mission, they believe in the cause. That's why they dedicate to it because it's authentic. So
Yeah.
in so many ways, authenticity, like you say, is very simple word, yet it has a very deep dive meaning
Mm,
into this authenticity as an organization, as a person, as a leader, all that kind of stuff. It's just to be authentic.
yeah.
Uh, in all that you do.
Yeah. And I have met some of the KOTO leaders, and one of them like a female one, and I felt like they always talk about KOTO and Jimmy as father, as a family, and I feel like it's a true family for a lot of people. And thank you for doing it. And I think it's a great emotional home for people, even they are not there anymore, or they always feel that they still a part of that family. And the number of the alumni come back tell a lot on how impactful and how important the family is.
It is.
So we have some questions from people, and I feel like you also mentioned on the aspect of mentoring and the youth. So how did you articulate or how did you harmonize that mentoring or mentorship from you and pass it on to the next one, and the next one passes on to the next one? So it can be like continue, passing it on and pay it forward.
And can I clarify in what aspects are you talking about the
Yeah,
curriculum?
talking about the leadership team and also the student. How did you, what was the main factors that have them on that journey? In mentoring is one important part of that. And how did you bring it in and make it to become like generation to generation?
Well, I think let's talk about the student first.
Yeah.
Uh, the thing that it speaks a lot of volume in the
Mm,
name of the organization is KOTO. No
mm,
one teach one. So
mm,
it goes all the way through when you are a KOTO family member. It's your responsibility to build yourself and build your community. And your community is your brothers and sisters, your KOTO community, the community outside your family, everything like that. So that's two values that it's incorporated from the when you day one that you step into the KOTO. So when you come in, the first day is the older classes welcome you, hug you, show you around, and teach you everything he knows or she knows. And you feel that right away when you
mm,
even the canteen is not about a tray. but it's like a family mum. So everyone eats together and all comes at the same time. And when you pick up a bowl of rice, you have to mow, right?
Yeah.
And that's what Vietnamese culture is. That's the beautiful part about Vietnamese culture. And when you receive something, you say thank you. So
Yeah.
all the environment that we built within the school and within the culture, and then they go and meet all along the 2 years journey. They meet so many alumni that come back and become the model and the mentorship and all that for them, and say, "Look at me! I'm now the owner of 20
Yeah.
bars in Vietnam. Look at me! I'm the
Wow.
GM of a four-star hotel." All that kind of stuff inspire them to say that I can do that too as well.
Yeah.
So all these little things that, through experiences and through 25 years of operating, we know what building the environment and peer-to-peer is super
Yeah.
important for the learning process. And then what we create is after when you finish the 2 years, it doesn't say see you later, goodbye, and all that, but it's a pathway for you to go become like one girl got an RMIT scholarship
Yeah.
yes, found that yesterday. And we have seven at
Congratulations to her.
yeah, her name is Dewey. Um, but she's a hill tribe minority girls.
Yeah.
Um,
Wow.
so we have kids that now work in Australia, in New Zealand, in Germany, and all that kind of stuff. So there's always a pathway and a commitment to show them that the family doesn't stop after only in 2 years, but the family is always there for you through our KOTO Connects, Alumni Connects, which gives them a platform to network, but to become the mentor to the younger generations and all that kind of stuff. So there's a kind of something, a system, an ecosystem of KOTO community that supports each other, of hospitality professionals, right? So that's number one. So that's why you feel that you can't not let the family down because it just feel wrong
Yeah.
to do that. That's why when they go out to places like the Hyatt or JW Marriott or things like that, we have a 100% job placement success, Jen. So
Yeah.
the KOTO students are very sought after, and not because they're super talented, I don't think, because
The
they have
attitude. Mm.
the right attitude. And this is the most common comment we receive from people. And
Yeah.
so when we it's very important for us that 2 years to give them the soft skills, the life skills, the English proficiency, but also the hospitality to get them equipped and ready when they go out into the real world, but also give them that support. So that's the whole know one, teach one, and the mentoring that you mentioned.
Mm.
The brothers and sisters who come back and then become that role model and all that. It's a constant uh, commitment to this training and development
Mm.
from KOTO within as a family and culture because they live there, they're the receiving end of that program, right? So then it's their job now to pay forward. And then they have the outside training opportunity that they go to. One just came back from Italy, one came back from
Mm.
so there's we have a network of to continue commitment to give them that training and development, so they have the skills, but also they have the environment to and the culture to be able to continue their work and keep them passionate and committed as well.
Wow. So I feel like the training and the opportunities to learn from the real environment and the career path with successful stories and the very core like the family feeling that you have created collectively and there's a father like you there. So do you think that this is a difficult question, right? As a father, I mean, also a mother, do you feel like you have some attachment to it that make it a little bit like not as grow as it is as a child?
I think how's it called? When you go and then you watch a movie, right? A drama, and you feel that some a teacher. Okay. I'll give you an example. There's a movie called An Officer and a Gentleman, and it's a 1980 movies. And this guy, he got completely hassled by this captain who trained him.
Okay.
And then you know, so one day he got trained and he was going through, because KOTO is a bit of like a boot camp because we're trying to change behavior. So he kept on he did something wrong and the captain made him did push up in the rain. And then he kept on asking the soldier, why are you here? Why are you here? Why are you here? And he gave all these answers and he's still not good enough for the captain. The captain put his foot on, still continued to say, why are you here? Why are you here? And in the end, he got so tired from doing like a 1,000 sit up or something. He sorry, push up. He goes, because I have nowhere else to go.
Wow.
And then that's when the captain let him go, and then and all that, and he became this incredible officer, uh,
Oh,
and fell
very
in
great.
love and all that kind of stuff. And then the day he graduation, he came up and he was being very sentimental to this captain, and the captain, you know, with a brave face and all that, trying not to cry or pretend that he doesn't care and move on, soldier, and all that kind of
Yeah.
stuff. And then the guy look back and see the captain giving hard time to the next patch. To the new recruit. It's a bit like that. You,
Oh,
because you have shown your family is so big, right?
yeah.
And you're so focused. So you acknowledge that the one that have gone and become successful in our country is still always going to be a part of in your heart.
Yeah.
But then the new one doesn't understand you, and that's when you put on another hat, which is the top hat
Yeah.
to you
Tough love.
training as
Yeah.
well. So this is a continuous cycle, but the family is ever growing. Like actually, you know, tonight, Jen, downstairs in my house is
Oh,
it's about 20 alumni from this couple of classes who are celebrating one of the boys, a Hill Tribe minority boys. His birthday. So we were celebrating
okay.
downstairs, and I say, I'm sorry, I got.
Congratulations.
But it's just sometimes when he has nowhere to go. He lives in the hostel. It's his birthday. It's sometimes when you do something like that sweet for you know, and say, hey, come, I'll cook for you, or we do a barbecue together, and they all put in, you know, everyone chipped in to help with a barbecue, and I'll make the salad, and you do this, and then you sit there, and then you can see he got really emotional.
Yeah.
So to us it's a little things, but to him was a very big thing because
Yeah.
it shows that, you know, it is true what you said, you know, I graduated about 2 years ago, but I'm still a family member that can always come home.
Mm. Yeah, I feel like that that actually if we look at the side of the impact, the collective impact of that, it will melt all the other aspect itself. So the thing remain, which is compassion and the collectivity and the growth. And I just see like different life have been empowered by that journey. So
Just to answer
yeah,
your
yeah.
question also, I only cry at graduation. Because as a tradition I started about 25 years ago when I to ask someone to change everything about themselves for 2 years, and they did
Mm,
because they trusted you.
wow.
On graduation day, I invite everyone. I go and beg the five-star hotel to give us a venue, and it's a fully sponsored event. And I'm trying to bring it together. Just an incredible. If you go to the YouTube, there's type KOTO graduation, you find it's actually quite an elaborate. And that one night in the whole entire life, those kids were the VIP. They sat in front
Mm,
of ambassadors, all the people that have, you know, high roles and titles in society, and they become the VIP for the night. And because I'm so darn proud of them, and that's when I cry because
so
it's a
the other time, no crying. Tough love.
hardship. The hardship doesn't. You don't cry when it's hard times, or
Yeah,
cry when a father see, you
the
know,
success.
and then you know that child say to you,
Mm,
thank you.
yeah,
And 2 years and the many arguments, the many disciplines, the many things that happens, it's just all melt away, as you said, Jen. You know, it's just it all melt away because it's worth it.
yeah. Thank you for that tough love and dedication. And I think like people can feel the intention. Why did you do even at that moment in time? It was not that like, let's say, gentle, but people can feel like they still with the ocean. Maybe at that moment there will be another kind of object, but they still in the ocean of love, abundance, and support. So I feel like if we look at your life and you put in a book, what is the name of that book?
One.
One. Oh, wow. That's a really amazing one because we cannot say anything. It's one.
Yeah.
You
Trust.
actually have planned to publish that one, or
No, no. You asked me the question, and that came. You told me to be spontaneous. I'm being spontaneous. I've
oh,
never
so
done
I think that has a meaning there. It can say like one life at a time, and it's one life. Let's live the best we can.
one and the ripple effect on it as
Oh, the
well.
ripple effect. Yes.
So all that has many meaning, but it starts from, someone having to be brave enough to start something, right?
Yeah.
Brave enough to say, no, I'm not going to go down that travel path that's already been traveled many times. I'm going to go the less travel road.
Mm,
It takes that one person to say, I'm going to be different.
yeah.
Uh, uh, and yeah, so yeah, if I have to write a book, then the title will be called One. Yeah.
Yeah. I love to share that story of the one of the book or the story named One. And I just think like the one person that you empower at a time, that person empower also another one. It's like kind of the pay it forward that you mentioned, and it's actually the ripple effect that never ends. So I think it's million lives now we cannot count, and you didn't plan to count and you didn't expect anything, but I think it's just like now everywhere. So thank you for that journey.
Oh, thank you,
And
Jen. It's been I don't like this is it's all to do with attitude, as you mentioned. I
yeah,
truly don't believe that I've done enough. I truly believed that I am so blessed to be put on this earth to be a service, right? And it's not me who have this food, but it's actually sorry, it's not them that actually have food to meet me, but it's saying I have food
yeah,
to,
but
be able to meet them.
yeah, I think both side. And so congratulations because you found that uh, purpose, and you work on that part, and a lot of people also get empowerment and changes because of your choice and your decision. So both of other side and everyone who are in that journey, I think they get that feeling. And if you look at your next half of your life, let's say, because you never stop learning, the next half of the next life, let's say you live double time of your life, how does it look like? What next?
If I come back in the next life, you mean?
No, yeah, you continue. Let's say you have lived 16 years more.
I don't think I can ever retire because
Yeah.
I truly don't feel that I've been working.
Mm,
So it's only when people work and so hard they decided they wanted to retire, right? So I'm going
mm,
to continue to do this when the man above allows me to. I will continue to do that until one day I cannot.
yeah.
Um, but I feel that I don't have an immediate plan. I wish to do more. Uh,
Mm,
not necessarily with KOTO because KOTO is always been a gift for Vietnam and it always
yeah.
continue. And I have a succession plan. I want someone ultimately to replace me here. So I don't plan to continue this forever, but I
Yeah.
continue to do more.
Mm.
forever. If that makes sense, yeah. So
Yeah, I think like the purpose is always there, and the how and the platform can be evolved, and you pass it on to the next generation. And so I think it's continuous journey, and it's very clear for you. It's like the word one. And so we have a question like, what is that practice that you do every day so you can empower yourself, or empower one life at a time? What is that practice that everyone after today can go home and do it?
wow. uh,
For me, Jimmy is only like not a,
can I
because you
tell,
cannot do it every day.
can I tell you, this is someone that guys, this is whole thing about being disciplined, right? I'm not that 100% disciplined, so please don't think that I'm super disciplined. I'm not. So, like I'm trying to wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning because that's apparently supposed to be very good for you. I've tried to 8 o'clock now. So I wake up at 8 o'clock now, so I'm still working on. So it's like I say, it's a journey, it's a process. I'm still continuing to do that. Uh, I'm trying to look after myself better. I need to drink more water. I need to be able to do this, all the kind of stuff, and go into this intermittent fasting and all that kind of stuff. So all this, because healthy minds and body is very important to do the work to do. So it's a constant challenge to be able to maintain to upkeep that kind of stuff. But like I said, I'm a man of faith. So the first thing I do in the morning is to say good morning to the Father.
Yeah.
That to me is very important to acknowledge that that he's the first person, the first thing that I have to think about, and the
Yeah.
last thing I before I go to bed. So that's for me is very important. Uh, Everything else is again is different. It's work in progress. So, uh, but definitely there's a plan. Uh, if it's you achieve 60% of that, then you still at least you're on something. But to know also that um, the best you can and become the better version of yourself. But to understand the more, if you're a man of faith is to understand that you have no control over what
Mm.
happens.
So you
Uh,
let go and you don't attach, but
is that
you try yourself every day, but you're not attached that it has to be like this, right?
so you can plan and then you're trying to achieve as much plan as you want, but also to accept that when things don't go to plan, it's
Yeah.
okay also.
Yeah. So that's really like the harmonized stage with what comes and go. And as you said, it's like to be better every day. And that can be a challenge for everyone to
Exactly.
do the things that you want to do, to be disciplined, so you think you can get better. Sorry. So like prepare for crying to live. So I think that's the last question. Why like a practical? Do you recommend any book? So reading you as reading a book too. So any practical book that you recommend the readers or the listener here?
Oh my goodness. I cannot tell you, I want to show you something, okay? This is something that I wrote down. I gotta show everyone so people don't think I'm making it up. Uh, Book to read when I retire, right?
Oh,
I
wow.
have from all the way to Finding a Way in a Wild New World to by Martha Beck, all the way to The Alchemist, Pablo Coelho. I read it, by the way, to Tony Robbins, uh,
Oh,
and 14.
you have it all, like different fiction and non-fiction.
I think so because like my genre for music as well, like
Yeah.
I can go classical all the way, and then when I eat with my students, I put on all this latest Vietnamese young music, and they were so surprised I actually know it. Uh,
Oh,
I only do it because I need to stay cool with them, but
yeah.
so it's good to be to have variety in your life.
Yeah.
So you don't actually to stay. It's not said that I only read self-help books, or I only read because everything from China history 1421 is an incredible story about China
Yeah.
and how it came to be in the dynasties and all that kind of stuff, to the life of Ho Chi Minh,
Oh,
the man, the incredible man that loved his country and the sacrifices he made, and all the challenges he's faced as well.
yeah.
And he's get recognized only after his death, which is a pity. But all this kind of stuff is just creates knowledge is everything.
Mm,
Only knowledge that you're able to be unafraid, right? So knowledge doesn't have to come from things that only benefit you, but
mm.
knowledge comes from so many things that happen around, from history to self-help books, all the way to just people life stories
Yeah,
that
it's like your story today that it's like the comprehensive and compassionate collective book with a very simple title one. It's like a trial, like a teaser, right? So
exactly.
I
So
think everyone.
anyone who wants to write my book, please let me know. Please get in contact with Jen.
uh, Actually, we publish book. I published my 7 books, and my publisher said, Jen, you should publish it by yourself. And actually, Dr. Ramesh, we had a chance to publish her book in Vietnamese, and then
Oh
we
yeah,
got
'cause I did an interview with her.
you, and we're just still working on to give the books to the hand of the reader, so we can actually share more stories about others. So I love to spread your stories in
But
the
you're in
form.
Hanoi, so you're welcome to come to KOTO and we can have a chat.
Yeah, yeah, sure. And we know we love the people with many years of businesses and society community work like that, package in something people can read and can learn, and they can open the book within them. So today we empower futures, our futures, and maybe someone with the story of Jimmy. And I love you to like say some last thought. It can be a challenge for us to think about or to
I
remember, so we can
my
use this one.
challenge to you today as a listener is that we have a title that Jen and I come up with, which is basically empowerment, one life at a time. If one listener today from this podcast that are able to go out there and be that change and start a movement or a social enterprise, because the community is only safety in numbers, right? The more people go and do that, is the better the community that we can build as well.
Mm.
Uh, and it all starts with one person, right? And so that's my challenge to the listeners, is to be bold, to be brave, to be authentic, and to make a difference.
Yeah. Be the one to
Be-
do that. Thank
Absolutely.
you. Thank you, Jimmy.